Well, hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you, and in this video today we're going to look at 3 different ways to change a ratio to a percent. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this problem from iReady. It says, in a poll, 9 out of 25 students in Lydia's science class say they will vote for her for class president. In Lydia's history class, 4 out of 16 students say they will vote for her. Which is greater, the percent of students who will vote for Lydia in her science class, or the percent of students who will vote for Lydia in her history class? Okay, so let's take a look now at our first method. All right, so I'm going to call this method number 1. What an original name, huh? Method number 1. And we use method number 1 when we have denominators that are factors of 100. So use for denominators of 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, and 50. Okay, because remember, percent is a ratio over 100. So if we have a denominator of 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, or 50, they are factors of 100. So we can quickly change that denominator to 100 and get to a percent. All right, and so the method is find the equivalent ratio with the denominator of 100. All right, and we can do that using this science class ratio. For example here, okay, I'm going to put EX. Her science class, the ratio is 9 out of 25. 9 out of 25. All right, so I want to just remind you on the grid what this would look like. Remember, we have a 10 by 10 grid, which makes 100. Here we have 25 as our denominator. Well, 25 would be 5 times 5, right? So I go over 5 and I go down 5. And there is my square. I'm off a little bit. Sorry about that. And we want 9 of those. So there's 5. And there is 4, and we get 9 out of 25. Now, what's great about this is that is a factor, right? 25 times 4 equals 100, which means that I can create 4 copies of that square, and that will convert it to 100, right? I did a better job in a previous video where I did this. Sorry about that. All right. So if I make 4 copies of that original ratio, right, 9 to 25, I now have filled the entire grid, right, the entire 10 by 10. So what do I have? I have 9 25ths, and I did times 4 of those 9s and 4 of those 25s, and what did I end up with? 36 over 100, right? 9 times 4 is 36. So what you can do is you can take that factor of 25. You could say, what do I have to multiply that factor by? You multiply both the numerator and the denominator. Remember, we've done this before to make equivalent ratios, right? And we get 36 over 100, which is 36%. All right? 36%, 36 over 100. All right, so for example, if I had 3/5, right, then I could multiply both of those by 20 because 5 times 20 is 100, and I would get 60 over 100, which would be 60%, right? If I had, let's say, 16 over 50, I could say, okay, well, 50 goes into 100 2 times, and I would get 32 over 100, right? Which, what was I thinking here? Sorry. This is 60%, and this would be 32%. So when you have denominators of 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, or 50, find the equivalent ratio. Say, what do I have to multiply that by? If it's 4, you multiply by 25. If it's 25, you multiply by 4. If it's 5, you multiply by 20. If it's 20, you multiply by 5. If it's 50, you multiply by 2. If it's 2, you multiply by 50. If it's 10, you multiply by 10, and so on. All right, that's method number 1. So we know that her science class percentage, we could put that in right there, and that would be 36%. Okay. All right, I'm going to clear all this out, and I'm going to go to method number 2. Method number 2. And this you use when ratio can be simplified to give a denominator that is a factor of 100. Okay. Use when the ratio can be simplified to give a denominator that is a factor of 100, and then you would go back and use method number 1. All right. So let's take a look now at her history class. All right, for her history class, the ratio is 4 out of 16. Now, if we take a look at that denominator of 16, it's not as nice as the 25 was, because 16 is going to be on this grid 4 by 4. Can I turn off the fill there? Whoops. Let me try that again. Whoops, 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 whoops. All right, I don't know why this always seems to happen to me when I get to right here. Can I get rid of that? Come on, just go away. Just go away. It doesn't want to go away. Can I delete it? All right, let's just get it out of the way here. Get that one out of the way. It's really, oh, that's not the trash can, Mr. Reeves. There's the trash can. I need to get some new glasses. Okay, let's try. Let's try this again, shall we? Shall we? Okay, 4 by 4. 4 by 4 is 16. Okay? So this is the ratio we have, and we have 4 of those 16s. Can you see that it's not going to fill in evenly like the other one did? So if I do another 4 by 4 here, I've got this extra row of 2. And if I filled it in, I'm going to have extra gaps. And even if I tried to put some pieces together like puzzles, it's not going to work because 16 is not a multiple of 100. Excuse me, 16 is not a factor of 100. 100 is not a multiple of 16. But if we simplify, right, if we simplify that, how can we simplify it? By factoring out a common factor. I'm going to factor out 4. And what do I get? I get 1/4. Right? Now 1/4 is 1. That's good because 4 is a factor of 100. So if instead here I go down here, right? Wow, it happened again. It happened again. Let me try. I don't know. I accidentally, like when I go down there, I hit that little shape thing every time when I go to do it. Okay, I got what I want. Yeah, I got what I want. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Whoops, can't do this. One more time, Mr. Reeves. There we go. Okay, so there is my fourth, right? And I have 1/4, and those would fill in exactly. All right, I'm not going to draw them all in because the time it would take is not worth it. But can you see we had 1 and then 2, and then we'd have 3 and then 4 and then 5, right? We'd have 5 going that direction, and then we'd have 5 going that direction, so we'd get a total of 25, right? So that's what we could then do here. We then would multiply that by 25 and multiply that by 25, and what would we end up with? We would end up with 25 over 100, which is 25%. All right, so can you see that? So if you can simplify to get a multiple of 100, then, or a factor of 100, excuse me, then you can use this method, because then it's just like going back to method number 1, right? So if you have, say, well, if we had 6 eighths, all right? 6 eighths. 8 does not go into 100 evenly, but if I divide both of those by 2, right? If I divide both of those by 2, what do I get? I get 3/4. And then again, we can multiply both of those by 25, and we would see that 6 eighths becomes 75 over 100, which is 75%, right? Right? So if I had 97 over 400, say, well, in this case, I'm going to divide, 97 is not a good number for me to use because it's not going to simplify. How about if I do 98 over 400? How about if I use the right color, Mr. Reeves? 98, what do I want that bottom number to be? In this case, actually, I would just divide it all the way down to 100, wouldn't I? Because I could just divide by 4, and that's going to get me to 400 divided by 4 is going to be 100, and 98 divided by 4 is going to be 20. Let's see. Wait, 4 doesn't go into 98 evenly, does it? Man, Mr. Reeves, how about 96? How about that? Yeah, and then we go 24, so that would be 24%. I did it again over here. That's 75%. All right, I think I need to climb back into bed and get some more rest, okay? So method number 2 is when you have a denominator, all right, when you can simplify to get a denominator. So it's actually always a good idea. You look at it if the denominator is not already a factor of 100, simplify it and see if you get one of those numbers. Remember, those factors of 100 that we had are... Whoops, where did we go? I erased it. I guess we don't have them anymore. All right, those factors of 100. I'll write them again. The factors of 100. The factors of 100 are 2, right? Because 2 times 50. 4 times 25. 5 times 20. 10 times 10, right? 20 times 5, 25 times 4, and 50 times 2. Those are those magical denominators that go into 100 evenly. So if we can simplify to get that denominator, then we are in good shape. Okay, so that's method number 2. All right, method number 3. Method number 3 is my least favorite method because it does not require any understanding of what actually is going on mathematically, but it always works. Okay, so this works for all ratios. So sometimes students just like to use this one all the time because it works whether you have a denominator that's a factor of 100 or can be simplified to a factor of 100. This one just works for all ratios no matter what. And this method is to divide the numerator by the denominator, okay? Divide the numerator by the denominator. So if we divide the numerator by the denominator, we're going to get a decimal, okay? So then we're going to change the decimal number to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. By moving the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay. So for example, we can do this with both of those classes. So let's go back to her science class. In her science class, the ratio was 9 out of 25, right? And in the history class, the ratio was 4 out of 16, okay? So if we go to the science class, if we do 9 divided by 25, 9 divided by 25 gives us 0.36. And it's okay to use a calculator, all right? And then when I see that decimal number, I need to move the decimal 2 places to the right, and I know that's 36%, because as I showed you in a previous video, remember 0.36 is 36 hundredths, right? So what you're doing is you're creating a decimal number by dividing the numerator by the denominator. You're creating the decimal, and then you're converting it to the percent. All right, so for 4/16, we would do 4 divided by 16, which turns out to be 0.25. Again, go ahead and use a calculator. All right, and then once we have 0.25, we know that 0.25 is 25 hundredths, right? So we can simply move that decimal 2 places to the right, and we see that we have 25%. Okay, so 3 methods. This last method works no matter what the numerator and the denominator are. All right, you simply divide the numerator by the denominator and then move the decimal 2 places to the right. I hope you will use a combination of these 3 methods as you come across numbers. Some are easily converted, and you can use mental math even and quickly change them to percents. Other ones are not easily converted, and that's when you use this method number 3, dividing the numerator by the denominator and moving the decimal 2 places to the right. Well, I hope this video helps you as you work through the I Ready practice skills. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.